Okay. So we'll go over OBS a little bit. We'll talk through scenes and the different sources inside of the scenes.
I want to say one thing first. When I've been using my iPad or my camera, my phone, you put the signal out to Facebook, one camera and Facebook takes care of everything.
Yeah.
Because we've got two cameras and sound, we need something in the middle, and that's OBS, and that's its whole purpose.
Okay.
Is to mix all that stuff together and send it out. That's what will give us picture-in-picture if we want to, or allow us to different places, whatever. So,
Okay.
now I get set up.
So Rich got the stuff, don't worry. Banana, she's gonna be on camera on Sunday.
She's gonna spend an extra half hour getting ready.
Okay, so OBS is really that middle point of capturing cameras, switching between cameras. Even if you guys wanted to do more of a, if you had slides or verses that you wanted to put out on the stream, OBS could handle that as well. So OBS is very flexible as to what it can do. So I'm going to bring up something and just kind of load a new, do a new scene, and we're going to just have it look at this Google window page. So on the bottom, and this is the factory layout, so I've not changed the layout, but all of these are dockable and can move, and you can have them go wherever you want. So you can customize that layout as to how you want it to look. I say that and I can't get it to go back in there now.
You can zoom it in, zoom it out.
Yeah.
and out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're going to create a new scene. So right now we've just got scene 2, and I'm going to just do the default, which is scene 3. So those are all, you can name them whatever you want to be, camera 1, camera 2. So sources are what are inside of the scenes. So we're going to add a new source by clicking the plus, and we're going to do a window capture because we want to capture this window. So we're going to create a new one. We'll just leave it at window capture, click OK, and it pulls up Google, because that's the only window that's open currently. So there's a drop-down menu as to where you're viewing it. So if you're doing a PowerPoint presentation, you can capture that PowerPoint window, and you could use that to show scripture or announcements.
Okay. The picture that you're showing here is a picture of that
Is
screen,
this. Mhm.
but the dialog box is not in this picture.
Correct. Because we're looking at the page itself. This is a pop-up to our computer, not to the window itself.
Ah, okay.
So now I can maximize it. You can see it maximized here. If we go to camera 1 here, now what's here is there. So pretty simple to do that. So we can just say okay, and save it. So now that's one of our scenes that we can now pick from to fade between. So basic layout is scenes and then sources. Sources are what's inside of scenes. Then we step over to audio, scene transitions, and all the different controls. Inside the audio mixer, we don't have it yet. Right now we're using the microphone that's built into the computer. We'll point it over to the input from the soundboard, and then we'll get all that going. We'll talk about cameras before we get into the audio portion of it. So over here on data video, let me close this out. We'll start a new thing. So we'll skip OBS for now. Now we'll talk about cameras. We went ahead and bookmarked camera 1 and camera 2. Current password's admin, so you guys can change that to make it your own. And when we go there, we now get a view. So right here's the preview button, because if you click off of that, now we can get into configuration and change colors and all the different configuration of the camera. So preview is where we want to be. We've got a directional pad here, which allows us to move the camera around. So we can go, up, down, left, right, diagonals. Speed is this horizontal bar. So we can go really slow. Sorry, really slow is that way. And we can go faster. 50 is kind of a nice one. Focus mode is auto, manual, or one push. So typically auto is where we'll stay. So it does all the auto focusing. We've got zoom in and zoom out. So we can zoom out from here.
Oh, nice.
All the way to a zoom in. Now it's on autofocus, so it's looking for something to focus on. And then found it.
So give it a straight line.
Yeah. So now we can zoom back out. So down here are the presets. That was a question that was asked earlier as to how we can do presets. So once we get a shot established that we want to use, we can save it, we can delete it, or we can play it. So currently that's preset 0. We've got a drop-down menu, so we can go to preset 1 and play preset 1. So once you have all your presets, it's really just a drop-down and play it. So we haven't done it. We haven't saved preset 2 currently, so we'll go ahead and save preset 2. So we can put that over. What do we want to look at? We'll zoom
You mean
in.
the person that's reading?
Like,
Down.
this is where the presets, and then when we're reading, we'll zoom on here. So that'd be like a preset at the podium.
Oh, don't you?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
can we
come
do
down.
farther out? I don't want people to look that close.
Sorry.
You guys can develop whatever you want. Absolutely.
I was like, why do you need to look so close at the person that's reading? It's just
You
you're
do.
listening to them read.
You don't, you shouldn't.
I'm just kind of showing you how to do
Yeah.
presets, so you guys can establish them wherever you want
I'm
them.
just reassuring her that we don't need to do that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, gray hairs. you
So
know.
the preset,
I ain't got gray hair.
Reflection.
yeah,
Okay.
254 presets.
Okay.
So we're going to save it on preset 2. So you do want to select where it's going to go before you save it. So preset 2,
Okay.
and then this little pencil icon is set. That preset is now saved. So now we can jump back to preset 1, click the play button to recall it.
Oh.
Nice.
Then we go to preset 2, which we just saved, and we can recall it, and we're right back at that preset. So pretty straightforward on how to save those. It's all about these 3 buttons. So
Okay.
save, delete, play, and
Okay.
where you want it to go.
No more jerky camera movements when we were able to get that going. Right, Rich?
Yeah, so that's where two cameras are nice, and that you have what we call a cover shot. So you go to one camera when you move the other, so you don't see any cameras moving, unless that's something you want to see. So the way I would recommend running this is to have 2 tabs of Google open. So you've got camera 1, camera 2, and we'll go to camera 2 on this one. I think I just hit camera 1. No, that's right. Admin here. So now we've got both cameras
Uh-huh.
at the ready.
And then I'll just keep going.
Yeah. So same thing here. So we can. So I am of the mindset as you are building your presets that your preset numbers match what each camera is looking at. So position 1 will always be the lectern. 2 will be the podium. 3 will be the communion table. 4 would be So that way, no matter on which camera you're on, you're gonna remember, oh, I need to go to this position. It's gonna be.
And we can
Oh.
rename those, the presets, you can rename them?
There are just numbers on here.
There's just numbers on there,
We
so we
will
would
have
have
a
to.
cheat sheet.
Correct. Yeah. So typically, yeah, there's a sheet, but then that way, position 1
Mhm.
podium is position 1 podium on either camera.
Right.
So when we do this, we also label the spots so that everybody gets used to them. So
Yeah.
put X on the floor is really helpful when you're down
Yeah.
there. So if you're at the lectern, you need to be standing on this X.
Well, what we gotta do is stop moving the lectern. You're standing-
Well, it's not my fault that it's too tall. I can't reach it.
We
We'll
will
put some
have
wheels
2
on it.
two places for
There'll be
it.
2
One for,
places. There'll be a
one
short
for
person
short
and a tall
people
person.
and one
Thank
for
you.
tall
It's all
people.
computerized.
That's good. That's what I want to know.
Is that we just get to stop Jerry from moving it all the time.
And really, depending on
Well,
how.
just tell Jerry, put it on this X. It has to be on this X at this time.
Yeah.
He will understand that part.
And depending on how tight, how zoomed in you are
Yeah,
on it,
It won't matter.
it'll allow flexibility.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and saved.
Because the straight on shot that he's got there, that's coming straight down the aisle.
Mm-hmm.
You can be fairly zoomed out and have a good picture of Father Mike behind the altar
Mhm.
as well as somebody reading,
Yeah, that would be nice.
you know. So that's one that might do 2.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. So you could do
Yeah,
a shot like this.
that.
Yeah, that looks nice.
Uh-huh.
We'd have to tell Father Market to pick his nose.
Well, we might have to. You're right. Of course, he likes to talk when he's in the out there and Annetta's playing too.
Well,
and
that's
get
fine,
some-
we can cut that
We
mic
can cut it
out
right
here.
Well, that'll be nice. Now, one of the things I noticed with this camera,
Mhm.
and also with my iPhone, if I was looking at that shot, it was fine with all those windows in the back. But if I had the windows in the back and I had somebody reading up here, they were too dark.
So that
So
is,
I would lower it a little bit so I got rid of the backlighting from the windows. Is this gonna automatically compensate for that or what?
so what you're talking about there is iris. The camera, if it's on auto iris, is going to, it's a camera. It's told, hey, I see so much light, my lens needs to be open this much here, yeah. So you are absolutely correct. We can go into configuration and look at some of those settings.
Okay, we can do that. Let's not
Yeah.
do that yet.
So yeah,
Yeah.
the camera can overcome that.
Okay.
And the other thing is we're also gonna have to get in here at night and do the settings again for when we have services in this dark.
Yeah, so we can have even time.
Same thing.
Yeah, and you really, at night, these windows aren't gonna provide the
No.
wash, and it's not gonna have that bright
Right.
light that
Right.
is what the camera's fighting.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah. So now as we go into OBS, this is why the 2 screens. So now you can have your cameras up. So within OBS, there's multiple ways you can look at OBS. So I'm going to drag it over here because I think you guys can see this monitor better. We've got what's called studio mode. So studio mode allows you to have a preview and a program. So what that does, oh, no, these aren't working. OBS is finicky. Sometimes it will catch those cameras straight away, sometimes they won't. And right now it's not catching them. We saw them on OBS earlier, and now they're not.
All right, there you go.
And scene 3 is black now because we closed that Google window. So if I open a Google window in theory, it'll pull it up.
Okay, you're gonna have to slow down and tell us like how you got the thing pulled up because that was like way too fast.
Okay, so the one on the right is what's being shown.
Well, no, I know that.
Okay,
One
the one
time.
on the left.
Okay, but her point is that he lost his pictures from
Yeah, so all I,
left screen to right screen, and he did something over here 3 or 4 times to get him to pop up.
all I did is I closed everything down,
Okay.
Yeah.
and then I opened OBS.
So you open OBS. Okay, then how did you get the camera to get onto OBS?
Down here in the scenes, I was just clicking between
Okay.
scenes.
Scenes, and then that's it.
Yeah, scenes will be what you guys end up using.
Okay.
So, and as we get a little further along, there's hotkeys that we can put in, so we can actually have 1, 2, and 3. We'll change it between the cameras, so you don't even need to click as much as use keyboard shortcuts.
Okay.
So right now it is being finicky again. We just saw camera 2, and now we're not. So then I turned off studio mode and went to scene 2, and now we see it, and went back to studio mode, and it's there.
Okay.
So I turned studio mode off and on was part of the clicking that I did.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys will use studio mode. I don't know.
I think we'll probably try it.
What is studio mode?
So it allows you.
Screen up there.
Okay.
So what's on the right is what's actually going out to your stream or your record.
Okay.
So that's called program.
Okay.
Preview is pretty much what's next or on deck.
Okay.
So you can look at your shots
Okay.
that you've got here, and before you take it, make sure that that's what you want before you transition between them.
So it's kind of like what you're going to do is like you're going to have your original, your current scene, and on the right hand side, you're going to pull up the left screen as far as your next. So in other words, it would be, you know, the greeting, and then we pull up the next one would be, say like the first reading.
Right. Okay.
And then after the first reading, then there's the second reading, and then of course after that, then you could go back to the other screen.
Yeah.
And it could be different scenes, you know, or even we could label one of the scenes as blessings, and so you'll see them along the rail. So
Okay.
we have those presets so that you can just click on it and load it up before it actually happens, so that you're not fumbling with the camera.
So we may end up with 20 scenes over there.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. You know how the kids get up there and do their bell choir?
Yeah.
That would be a scene.
Right.
Focusing on the pianist
Mhm.
would be, for the prelude would be a scene.
Okay.
Focusing on Annetta when she's setting up at, or Christina when they're setting up at the keyboard
Mhm.
would be a scene.
Okay.
Focusing on the choir for the anthem would be a scene.
Okay.
Right.
Focusing on the altar, lectern, yeah, millions of things, yeah.
Okay. Got it.
So
You know.
even though we have
And
one scene.
also the mobile.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, you know, you brought up a good point a minute ago, is that you didn't want somebody's face being big, huge when they're
Mhm.
reading.
Right.
You want more stuff in there.
Right.
Okay? I would suggest that if we're having the prayers for healing,
Mhm.
that we not even focus on it
Right.
with the camera. Put it up on the mobile.
Right.
And give them the privacy.
Right.
Right.
Or,
Right.
the other one you can do, you can focus
On
on
the-
the cross
on
and
the
the
cross.
windows.
Yes.
And we'll
okay.
have presets for those.
Okay. That
So
sounds
that you
good.
can just go through them, and yet you'll have choices so you can decide what you want to do.
Okay.
And that will allow us to individualize our services
Right.
from time to time.
Right.
And
Okay.
that's great.
And we can even have like one scene with directly on Annetta on the piano downstairs, and then
Yeah.
have another scene of the piano plus the instrument player next to it.
Mm.
So we can, have the two of
Yeah.
them, and then we can do it individually. So you'll have them pair it up when they're playing a duet, and then a solo would be
We
the
will,
next
we will
scene.
need a big, long list of scenes on our cheat sheet, so we'll work with that.
Okay.
And who knows, we may end up with another monitor to be able to flip through all those and keep track of them. I don't know.
Oh,
You know,
my
we'll
God.
figure that out.
One service at a time, so.
Yeah, one service
Okay.
at a time. Right
But
now,
this,
we've
this
got.
seems a lot easier than messing with the audio stuff, but it's
This is a little more intuitive, I suppose, than audio.
User friendly. Ish.
Intuitive, I'd go with. If you understand audio, then everything I went over is so it's kind of a learning.
Right.
Okay.
This is just mainly pointing cameras.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
and figuring out how to control them, how to save them, and where they're going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And most of it will be all preset before you get there.
Good.
So
Okay.
it won't be a lot of how to set it up, it'll be
Mhm.
more, which ones do you want to use? And
Okay.
why do you want to use this one versus why don't you want to use this one?
Right.
And we'll get into that.
Okay.
Yeah. So another view that you could pull up through OBS is this multi-view, so you could see your cameras. If you end up building up more scenes, these actually store all the scenes.
Oh, nice.
So if I open a Google page again, that one should be. We can see that is now over here on scene 3. So you can kind of see. So that's just all your different scenes. Within your scenes, so I'm going to close this out. You can actually have. So we'll build another scene. So we'll go scene 4, and in scene 4 we're going to have a camera with Google in the lower right. So we'll do what's called a PIP, or picture in picture. I didn't mean that one. So inside of scene 4, we can add the media source, which is where our cameras are. So we've already got camera 1 and camera 2. So say we're going to add camera 1. And then we also want to add in a window capture, which is Google, which we've already got, so existing window capture. So now it's got both of them. So now you see this red bounding box around it. You can actually size it, move it, and put it wherever you want. So if you've got announcements or scripture, like if you're trying to show people at home what's being read, so we've kind of got to think differently about what's being presented for viewers versus people that are in the sanctuary. Because
Right.
people at home may not have their Bibles or have gotten the link to see what scripture there is.
Yeah.
So you may want to pull that up so they can follow along.
And,
So you could do a camera shot
Right.
as well as have the
And
scripture.
and that would work well for some stuff that we probably need to do without putting it in like Facebook comments.
Yeah.
But we can work on that. The other thing is that we have to remember that people are looking on what when they're at home.
Phones.
Yeah.
How big is your phone?
Phones or
Small.
tablets.
I watch our church service on my TV at home.
some people will,
Yeah.
and they'll be able to see it. But
Correct.
if you're just looking at a phone, and so when we do stuff, we gotta keep the screen size in mind at home.
Correct.
And we can't plan to put some things on the screen that they gotta read a little tiny script,
Right,
right?
absolutely.
So, but bigger things with fewer words might be great.
Well, you could set that Google screens where it go all the way across the bottom,
Yeah.
where you're just showing 2 lines, but you would have to control those 2 lines to keep up with what's
Right.
being said or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's where maybe we end up with needing 2 people up here full time
Right.
to keep up with that.
Well, and,
And
Let's start with the very simple stuff and then move on,
Yeah,
okay?
and
That's
that's-
just,
yeah.
yeah,
That's what we'll do.
yeah.
But I think his point is, we got so many millions of options.
Yeah, that's true.
That we got lots of
It's good to
choices, and
know.
isn't that neat? We
Correct.
can make
Yes.
a choice,
Right,
what we wanna do and how we wanna do it.
right,
And yet within that, there needs to be some consistency.
Right.
One of McDonald's big, or any of those fast food places, one of their big things is a hamburger in Derby tastes the same as a hamburger in Las Vegas. Or with McDonald's, a hamburger in Moscow. They all taste the
No,
same.
they don't.
Yeah.
They're supposed to.
You're supposed to.
And
I went to McDonald's when they first came to Germany.
Oh, gee.
And,
Yeah, it
oh my
wasn't,
God,
no,
it was
it's not the
awful.
same.
Well, I never went again.
Tastes like wet dog.
You know,
Australian beef tastes like wet dog.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, and another one is Coke. Coke tastes the same the world around.
Yeah, it's
So
unfortunate.
does that does.
Yeah, that's-
Except for the local water. That will make it taste.
Yeah.
But,
And then baby sugar.
you know, we can do that,
yes.
but
Be
my
too sweet,
point is,
yeah.
there are some things that should be consistent with what we do, and
Yeah.
other things where we can vary stuff.
okay.
Okay, one thing that I've never messed with before is how do you get things to jump from one screen to the other?
it's just,
Okay, just you
yeah,
holding
you-
it with the mouse? and
yeah,
just-
it's if it's full screen, you won't be able to do it. So if you click it, so I'm
No,
holding
no,
click
no,
and then
nice.
pull it down, it'll shrink,
Okay.
and then you're able to move
All
it
right,
across.
All right.
And then with Windows, there's a lot of shortcuts. So like if I go all the way to the right, it'll put it on the right half of the screen. So as I put it over here, you kind of see that box that
Right,
comes up.
right.
Just some of the shortcuts, and it's like, well, what do you want on this half of the window?
Okay.
So there's a lot of cool things that Windows
Is
does.
that Windows 10?
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, a lot of it is just computer operation.
Okay.
Now, the other thing, guys, if we're gonna use this to put like the psalm on, or scripture on, or whatever, we're probably better off at first to put it into PowerPoint,
Yeah.
to expand it so it's readable on the screen, and then capture that as a scene, and that way you can just toggle between.
Yeah.
We gotta learn to
And
walk
we'll-
first
we'll-
before we
We'll do
run.
that.
Yeah.
and On some of that stuff, we're gonna get told how we're gonna do it by the working committee, or by the
Alright.
priest.
And
They
really,
don't have any input, what are you talking about?
But they're gonna have to understand what we can do too.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And-
that's the bigger issue.
And the other thing is, we're gonna have to figure out a way, if we're gonna start doing that, who's gonna put that available to us so we don't have to work at it.
Uh-huh, exactly, very
We
true.
we can't come at 9:30 and spend an hour typing to get ready for this.
Right, exactly.
Correct. If you're doing scriptures and readings, all that needs to be prepared, ready to go,
Right.
in a file for you guys
But
to open it.
The nice part about this is it's all being done in a format where we can just put those they can just put those right in there for us and create those. We just have to make sure that we understand that the secretary that's doing the bulletin also captures what we need from the bulletin. So
Okay, hold on, just a minute, question about that, so he mentioned PowerPoint, does this not open PDF?
It'll do PDF. Yeah, it's, yeah.
Because right now the bulletin is in PDF, so they don't need, like, what somebody had said, like, we just need to show like one line or something at the bottom, if that's the case. Just-
Well,
So we can, right now
we're
they're
still
using.
back to what I mentioned before. Most of our people are looking on phones and tablets.
Right, I agree with you,
We
yes.
probably, so initially, we won't have to do any of that.
Right, I agree
We got lots
with
of
you.
time figured out.
Yeah, I agree with
And
you with that.
Part of it may be sending out some forms, some surveys and saying, if you're watching from home, what would you like to see?
Right.
And, you know, but that's gonna take 6 months. And
So-
that's fine.
Right now, we just need to be able to
Yeah.
broadcast.
Yeah,
that's
On
Right.
Facebook, do,
Right.
that's.
Let's broadcast, let's set this up for tomorrow, and then that way we know.
Can we just do a quick broadcast like right now? Let's just hook up into the system.
Yeah, let's
and-
do
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Okay, so to do that, we'll go into settings. Where are we gonna put it?
I'm gonna change.
Oh, it looks like you guys have already been in here a little bit. So, Facebook, right?
Yep.
So-
We,
so
we
we'll go to Facebook.
tried, we tried to put it, use it last week and we couldn't get it to go.
Okay.
So we went to Plan B, which was my iPad, which will be available tomorrow if we need Plan B.
And do we have, are we using
It-
yours?
We can
or-
use mine today, that will come out,
And are you an admin for?
yes. So go to Pages and you should be able to,
Oh, sorry,
Why don't
John.
we-
shoot.
Why don't
No,
we
'cause
set it
you're on my
up to work the
personal
St.
page.
Andrews page and not,
Well, that's where I'm
Yeah, because
getting.
usually you can go up there and go to the.
I've
to the
never
churches.
seen that. Always good. Where's that?
Live video is the
Is it
right
saved
camera?
to have- Is that his drive? Or
I
is
don't
that
know.
your- That's not your actual license plate, right? I'm being stupid.
No, that's my amateur radio call sign.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, because I'm like,
Well,
why are we having that kind of
I am
personal
just
information?
told-
I don't want to say it.
Where the heck is Pages?
I can't see it.
Go back one, because I did click into.
Okay. Pages. Shortcuts. Henry County. Show more. St. Andrews. Okay. Now I'm working on St. Andrews Pages, and I got a lot more on how that's going to work.
Yeah. So once we're inside of St. Andrews, we'll go into live. I'm gonna close this out because that's gonna confuse me. I'll bring this over here so everybody can see it. So we are going to use a stream key. So we want to make sure that we're highlighted on use stream key. Then we'll scroll down. This is our URL and our stream key. So these are what Facebook wants for us to be able to broadcast. So I'm going to copy that, and inside of OBS, I closed this window earlier. We're in Facebook Live. So stream key, I'm just going to delete that because that was already in there. I'm going to copy the stream key from here, and I'm a keyboard shortcutter, so Alt Tab, Control V to paste, and we're going to apply that. So we click OK there, and we hit Start Streaming. So we'll go back to Facebook, and it's connecting to our live video. There we are. So once we are ready to go live, we'll need to type all the information in over here, and so add a live title. So we'll say
Testing.
new equipment test. Describe what makes it so unique.
Okay.
Like Easter Sunday Mass
So,
or something.
yeah, exactly. So now that I've populated those fields, now our go live option lit up blue. So
And we'll
so-
have all that written out for you.
yeah. So at this point, we'd click go live, and we'd be live on Facebook.
And go ahead and click live.
Go ahead.
Yeah, click on go live because I want to see if we're on there.
Yeah. So and we haven't set up audio or anything, so we'll just have the camera. Actually, we'll get the audio through the computer.
Okay, so now we're going live.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, let me
Okay.
see. Are we live?
Yep.
Because,
We're live now.
Okay, so now how do we get the other camera?
wait, okay. St. Andrews is live now. Okay, we are live.
Excellent.
So now we click between scenes. I've noticed the first camera, I've got to do a little setting tweaks on the settings. So right now you should see stuff on Facebook changing between.
Yeah. So you can watch it over on that one, and it matches what you're getting.
Your wife is watching.
Of course.
I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, and that's important. She hasn't commented, but on this, it says she's watching, okay?
Yeah.
That becomes important because one of the things we gotta do is take attendance and give Father Mike a number.
Yeah, so Grace Rucker is watching.
Right.
Grace
That's
is
Grace right here.
And my wife, Glenda, is watching.
Should be.
So then when we're done, we click the in live video. So because this
And
is
then
a
we
test,
save it,
we,
yeah.
well, typically we'd save it, but since this is a test, we
Right.
don't necessarily need to save this.
Yeah.
So if you in live now, you'll be able to choose to say, okay, great. is saying that OBS is disconnecting. So now we're going to delete
Like
video.
Linda says, hi Grace, yes, I'm watching.
So now we'll go delete
Yeah.
video and return to
Yeah,
live
confirm
page.
that.
We're going to
Okay.
confirm that, so that video won't be saved.
Yeah.
All right,
Perfect.
cool.
So
Now,
now if you saved it, now what we were talking about earlier when you're asking about storage,
Right.
Facebook would then store that, and that's in
gotcha,
in
and you
archived
can,
video.
just like the previous one that was just on there, if you scroll down, there was a couple
So,
other.
yeah, if we were on the home, yeah. so
Yeah,
that
her, right there. Mhm.
Or then the one before that or the one before that.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. So we could just, we're gonna pull up last week's scripture and click play.
So the kicker is inside of live, making sure you get that stream key. So this stream key here. So a lot of churches
Is that a permanent